Well, they are the unsung heroes of our stormy weather. The snowplow drivers who get out on the road, regardless of the winter conditions, and try to just make sure that everyone gets home safely. But this winter, it's a little different.
Yes.
It has been particularly challenging, right? Because, I mean, I think, a lot of people just aren't familiar
for sure.
with driving in these kinds of conditions, particularly in the city. And in some cases, people aren't totally up to speed with the rules of the road when it comes to this kind of thing. So our Tina Lovegreen hopped on board with a veteran snowplow driver earlier today.
Clearing the highway of snow so people can get around safely isn't just Patrick Miller's job, it's his mission. He's been clearing the way for 35 years, and this year's unusual and frequent snow has made for some exhausting back-to-back 12-hour shifts. His beat, the major east-west artery, Highway 1.
It does get a little bit hard on the body after 10 days or so being out there, but we get some time off and try to recuperate and wait for the next storm to come in.
The job is made more difficult, he says, by drivers on the road who just aren't paying attention or are speeding to get home.
You've got to know what's going on around you at all times, and you've got to watch. And people will cut right in front of you, not realizing that they just don't realize the danger of doing something like that.
Reckless driving like that could cause some serious damage and injury, especially when heaps of snow are flying off the plow.
They really don't realize how heavy that snow can get, because it's been known to actually turn vehicles sideways just from the blast.
The plows aren't trying to frustrate drivers. They're actually under a speed restriction during a snowstorm. They can't go faster than 60 kilometers an hour when the blade is down. But Miller says just because you don't want to get stuck behind them doesn't mean you can cut them off or not give them the right of way. While our cameras were rolling, 2 cars stubbornly refused to let the plow into their lane.
With all my flashing lights going and my signal lights on, will not give me a break. And there was another car right behind him that was well back, and he still didn't want to let me in. Sometimes you have to get very pushy just to get into a lane that you want.
That's not his first choice, and he says me-first drivers often end up in a bad place.
Some of the stunts I've seen them pull off and drive into snowbanks just to get around you. And those are usually the ones that 2 miles up the road, you're going to see a set of headlights facing towards you.
And Miller says all he wants is to keep everyone safe, including himself.
I've got wife, kids, grandkids, you name it, So I want to make it home.
So next time you see a snowplow, remember to give them plenty of room to get the job done. Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
Always good to see the other side of the coin.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, and they got a tough job tonight for some parts of the
tough
city.
job, and I would say a thankless job.
Yeah,
right, to some
big
extent. I mean,
time.
a lot of people just don't think about, well, hey, there's a human being behind that thing.
Yeah, exactly.